every educator is doing their absolute best for the kids because we love them and we care for them.
I feel like I've been playing the piano for 20 years and I got really good at playing the piano. And then all of a sudden, I feel like this year someone said, well, you're going to play the violin now. Here you go.
My workload has changed significantly. It's basically tripled.
I think the number one difficulty is just not being able to see children in the moment.
When you're remote, you don't have that connection. And also, when you're remote and the kids don't turn on their cameras, I can't see their faces. So I can't see that they're not getting what we're doing.
It's like teaching into a void.
My principal hasn't been able to act as a principal because she's been contact tracing. The Department of Health is so backed up that schools have taken on the role of doing their job and their work.
I spend some time asking children, like folks, what's causing your burnout? And I think for some teachers, it's the uncertainty.
We haven't really gotten any feedback on lesson plans, other than it's been reviewed, check the box.
There's this fear that kids are falling behind, and I think that's real and valid. There's nothing that's ever going to replace teaching in person and having kids in front of me. But I mean, this is a pandemic, and I don't believe it's currently safe to be in school.
I don't think it was wise to return whatsoever. This is the hill that I will die on, that the current spike is fueled, at least in part, by a return to school.
They were like, we're cleaning, we're giving you hand sanitizer, and and then it was just kind of like, yeah, you know what? Come into school or take a leave. That's basically the bottom line.
The expectations almost like haven't changed. It's like we're continuing on as if there's no pandemic.
We're in the middle of a pandemic right now. And if a fourth grader is not able to recognize all these sight words, well, then that's not the most important thing, especially if his parents are sick or his grandparents are sick.
We have quite a few students who sometimes during class, if they're there, like you see them holding their newborn sibling, I couldn't imagine like that much responsibility and also trying to take care of self.
I have students who are working full time because their family, one or more of their parents is out of work or sick or unable to work. How can I say to a kid who's working full time at a grocery store, oh, you shouldn't do that. You should come home and you should do your English homework? I can't say that. That's not my place to say that.
We still have a subset of adult, the people in charge. If they want to go to that customary, hey man, we got work to do. Let's pull up our bootstraps and make it happen. We can't be sad for. We're not there yet. We're not anywhere close to that. And even if tomorrow I told you that overnight they magically produced enough vaccine to vaccinate the whole world, and that we'd be back to school in 3 weeks. You think when I go back to school in 3 weeks, I'm teaching like it's regular? All right, man, we're back to normal. We got a lot of trauma to deal with.
One of the things too, I think we need to talk about when we talk about the pandemic is not only the pandemic of the virus of coronavirus, but also the pandemic of anti-Blackness, right? Because for Black children, and the same for Black teachers, is that heaviness has always existed.
Last year, for the last month and a half, some of our students of color just straight up stopped coming to school because they were like, I cannot sit in front of my computer and pretend people who look like me aren't getting senselessly killed.
I'm always, as an educator, constantly reflecting on my practice and my pedagogy on how I can be anti-racist in my classroom.
I was just so upset and so tired of having the white teachers at my school wear a shirt that says Black Lives Matter and they emailed out a picture of them wearing it and that was supposed to be their response. No, there's actual real work that you guys need to do that goes beyond performative advocacy and activism.
A lot of teachers are saying all we have to do is survive this year. Do you know to be Black in our school system is an everyday survival?
Being an anti-racist educator has always been important. and it needs to continue being at the forefront of our teaching.
The pandemic is an opportunity for us to do and be better. We've seen, like at the beginning of the pandemic, cable and television and phone companies all of a sudden came up with money that they can help families. Where were they before? All of a sudden schools were like, oh, we have tablets for every kid. Where was that before?
Last year, before all this happened, we had an assembly where we learned how to administer Narcan. And I just was like dumbstruck sitting there thinking, God, if you had told me 23 years ago on my first day of teaching that one day you're going to participate in active shooter drills, you're going to bar the doors to save your students, you're going to learn how to administer Narcan to students who are overdosing. It's not that I don't want to learn how to administer Narcan. I want to know what to do if somebody's overdosing, but I just never thought that that was going to be a part of my job. I didn't choose to become a nurse. I didn't choose to become a police officer. I didn't choose to become a soldier, enlist in the army. I thought that I was going to talk to kids about books.
It's hard being a teacher. Teachers don't want to get up. Teachers are at home in 2-bedroom apartments with 3 kids trying to go live.
We're all struggling right now.
The kids are the priority, and that's absolutely great because kids should be the priority. But I do think that sometimes the people who work with the kids, we're forgotten. It's really hard to try and just give and give and give and give and give to all of these kids and have like nothing left for yourself.
I don't feel all the time that teachers are being valued or heard right now. At last week's briefing, the governor said something that personally offended me and made me very upset.
To those of you who are throwing in the towel on our kids and going virtual, I think it's a shame. I really do. You're letting the children down, and I don't see any reason for it. So I'd ask you to rethink it.
And when I heard that, I was appalled and upset because to say that any teacher or administrator is throwing in a towel, I'm getting emotional even talking about it, to be honest. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. But I think educators are working so hard to do their best for the kids, and to have someone you look up to as a leader say that we're just giving up is really upsetting. Every educator is doing their absolute best for the kids because we love them and we care for them.
We're all working so hard right now. We're all putting in, it makes me get a little choked up when I say that. We're putting in so much time to do a good job for the students and to make it worth their while.
I sometimes get unpleasant emails from parents telling me to try harder. I promise you, we are trying our very best. We are going above and beyond, all of us.
Children are our future. What are we teaching them right now about what to do when the going gets tough? We risk raising a generation of children who are taught that in your darkest hour, you're on your own.
If we go back to before, it would be a disservice to humankind. If we want to really live the values of our country, if we really want to come together, we have to start doing and being better. Let's start anew.